Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready to begin this evening's board meeting. The school board meeting of December 12, 2017 is now called to order. The time is 6:02 p.m. At this time, we request that all electronic devices be turned off or be put in the silent mode. Also, we ask that you please refrain from using flash photography except during the special presentations portion of the meeting. We would like to take this opportunity to remind members of the public of the district's vision, which is to ensure that each child achieves his or her highest personal potential, and the district's vision to be a world-class school system. Prior to the start of this evening's board meeting, we have been enjoying the Hancock Creek Colt Chorale under the direction of Michael Seeberger. This chorale has been around since the inception of the school in 1993. The chorus currently meets after school and performs throughout the year at the school and throughout the community. At this time, the Hancock Creek Colt Chorale will perform one more song.
Science, math, reading, and technology, prepare
thank you, Hancock Creek Colts, for reminding us that you can work hard but still express it with a lot of joy. We appreciate the reminder. Thank you. Have a wonderful holiday, all of you. And now we'll take a short recess to give the performers an opportunity to leave the auditorium.
For the holiday greeting cards.
This evening's student representative is Aiden Henson. Aiden is a 6th grader at Mariner Middle School and is very excited and proud to represent his school. He is very engineering-minded and enjoys his school's specialty robotics program. Having hands-on experience in this subject is one of the main reasons he decided to attend Mariner Middle. Aiden aspires to have a career in military engineering someday and feels programs like these are important to offer to middle schoolers. His favorite subjects are math and science. Aiden recently won first place in his school science fair and will be competing in the 2018 Thomas A. Edison Regional Science Fair at FGCU. Additionally, Aiden participates in his school's book battle and math teams. Outside of school, he's involved in his Trailblazers 4-H club, which is very involved in community outreach, and he enjoys camping, fishing, and boating. Welcome, Aiden. This evening's agenda includes the invocation, the Pledge of Allegiance, 1 recognition, 1 acknowledgement, public comment, consent action items, which include 2 items under Executive Services, 5 items under Academic Services, 8 items under Business Services, 2 items under Human Resources, 7 items under Operations, 1 item under Unfinished Business tabled items, as well as 8 superintendent's recommendations, 2 of which are good cause. Dr. Adkins, please provide an explanation for these 2 items.
Yes, ma'am. The first one is approval of the revised school bell times for 17-18. This is for fourth and fifth graders at our lowest 300 schools. We had applied for a waiver to the instructional time. That waiver was denied by the Department of Education, which necessitates us changing those bell times. We need to do that so we can do that for second semester. The second is a contract for professional services, Capital Strategies Consulting. This is for a legislative liaison, and since session is going to start in January, we want to make sure we get this contract in place.
Thank you, Dr. Atkins. As presiding officer, I find there is good cause to add these 2 items to the agenda. And 4 other items under other business. Board members, is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, who was Mrs. Fisher?
Ms. Fisher.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0. Ms. Fisher will deliver the invocation, after which Mrs. Patrica will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise for the invocation.
Father, we are grateful for this opportunity to come together and ask you to bless all here present. We thank you for our youth, their inquiring minds, their gifts, talents, and differences. We also thank you for our school district employees, each of whom contributes something special to our students and the community. Please bless the men and women in military service and our first responders with courage and safety. Grant us all the good health we need to fulfill our callings, the ability to work together in harmony, and the wisdom to make informed and meaningful decisions. As our community continues to heal from recent disasters and acts of violence, please bless those families who are experiencing loss this holiday season with the caring concern and support of their neighbors. Finally, we ask you to grant us peace. Peace in our homes, peace in our community, and peace in our hearts. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Introducing the cadet presenting the national colors for our Pledge of Allegiance is Lieutenant Colonel Timothy Walter, Senior Army Instructor from Lehigh Senior High School, JROTC. Lieutenant Colonel Walter retired from the Army in 2006 and has been with the Lee County School District ever since. His various deployments and assignments include Operation Iraqi Freedom and Desert Shield, Desert Storm. Lieutenant Colonel Walter, thank you for your service to our great nation.
Thank you. The national colors for our Pledge of Allegiance tonight will be presented by Cadet Colonel Brittany Raymond of Lehigh Senior High School. Brittany maintains a 4.71 GPA and is currently the regimental commander for Lehigh Senior High School, which is the largest JROTC in the country. She's also the color guard commander and is also involved in the drill team, the exhibition team, and has competed in the district and state levels. Outside of JROTC, Cadet Raymond is a member of our National Honor Society, National Spanish Honor Society, Math Team, and Key Club. Upon graduation, Brittany plans to attend American Intercontinental University and study business management. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated.
Each year, the district solicits entries for its annual holiday greeting card display. And this year, the event was open to our elementary school students. Once the entries are received, staff reviews them and votes for their favorites, which are then displayed in our lobby throughout the holiday season. It is my privilege this evening to introduce our elementary school student artist. As I call your name, please come forward with your school representatives. And as I call them, there will be one school after another, and you will go through and shake hands. And then we'll get the picture at the end. Dr. Douglas Santini, are you here this evening? Okay. I thought he might be able to join us tonight. From Allen Park Elementary, we have Victoria Bush, a 4th grade student. The principal is Lisa Estridge, and Ms. Susan Fansler is the art teacher. If you would please come on forward. And from Bayshore Elementary, we have Rena Katz, a 4th grade student. Mr. Benjamin Osman is the principal at the school. Mr. James Lefko is the art teacher. If you would please come forward. Is Bayshore Elementary here? From Edison Park Creative and Expressive Arts Elementary. Congratulations, Mr. Roy. Congratulations. From Edison Park Creative and Expressive Arts Elementary, we have Emerson Chamber, a 5th grade student. Principal is Ms. Charisse Trent. Ms. Karen Flanders is the art teacher. From Gateway Elementary, we have Jenna Ahmad, a 4th grade student. Ms. Christine Seibenailer is principal. Well, Christine, did I say that right? And Ms. Sarah Severson is the art teacher. All right, Emerson, thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Just like Henderson. From Ray V. Potterf Elementary, we have Daniela Lozada Mezuera, a 4th grade student. Ms. Dottie Whitaker is the principal. Ms. Sharon Tomasco, art teacher. From Raymond C. Page Elementary, we have Madeline Beard, a 4th grade student. Principal is Ms. Valerie Scheckler, and the art teacher is Ms. Laura White. There you go, Danielle. There you are, Danielle. Congratulations. Excellent job. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so proud of you guys. Hey, Toots. From Sanibel School, we have Molly Dunn, a 4th grade student. Mr. Charles Velarde is principal. Ms. Rebecca Owens, art teacher. From Veterans Park Academy for the Arts, we have Addison Kane, 4th grade student. Ms. Laura Stanford, principal, and Ms. Cindy Johnson, art teacher. Congratulations, Molly. Excellent job. The artistic talent of these students and the dedication of their principals and art teachers are sincerely appreciated. Their efforts have truly brightened our holidays.
wait until.
At this time, we're taking a brief recess, so those who wish to leave may do so.
Great job, everybody.
The next item on the agenda is public comment. Mr. Martin, would you please address the agenda item of public comment?
School board policy provides the opportunity at this point in the meeting to address the board concerning any matter on this meeting's agenda or any other matter relevant to the operation of the school district. If you completed a card and submitted that to me before the meeting began, you'll be called in the order of the card submitted. If you did not submit a card but still wish to address the school board this evening, the school board chair, Ms. Morgan, will provide you an opportunity in a moment to express that desire. Rules concerning public comment to the school board are posted at the back of the room. The board does not respond during public comment time to remarks made by speakers. At the conclusion of public comment time, the school board chair may address concerns raised by speakers or may assign responsibility to the superintendent to do so. Speakers are expected to act in a respectful manner. Those who fail to do so after being warned by the meeting chair may be required to leave the meeting. Disruptive attacks on individuals are prohibited. Ms. Morgan, I have 5 cards this evening.
Is there anyone on the right side of the auditorium who did not fill out a card and wishes to address the board? Anybody on the left side? Thank you. I'm going to interrupt for just a minute because we neglected to do something in our agenda. Aiden Henson is going to introduce our word of the day and our picture.
The character education word for December is kindness, demonstrating concern for the well-being of others, giving support, and showing empathy. Quote, kindness is the language which the deaf people can hear, which the deaf can hear and the blind can see. Mark Twain. The design you see displayed was created by Francisco Godoy, a 12th grade student from Estero High School.
Thank you. And now, Mr. Martin, would you call?
First speaker is Tara Jenner.
Good evening, I'm Tara Jenner, and I've brought this up before, but I neglected to follow through with you guys. But I'm hoping that maybe we can kind of work both of us together on this. I home educate my children, and they are signed up through the county. And according to state statute, they are allowed to attend FSW as dual enrolled students. However, the statute specifically says that we must provide for our own textbooks unless otherwise provided for. And so I'm just raising the question to the board, can you consider how that can be otherwise provided for? And one of the things that I've researched and found is that a number of the schools in the school district have students that are also currently dual enrolled, and those books are provided for them and then at the end of the semester returned, usually through various means to the schools or through possibly the Lee Virtual School or the Florida Virtual School department here in the district. And I'm asking if it could be possible to make those books that are no longer being utilized made available to home education families, since the expenditure has already been outlaid. And maybe that can help defray the cost, because I'll be honest with you, this semester coming up, I'm going to have to take out a second mortgage for the cost of the books for my daughter. And I'm, even though it's her last semester, I'm looking for the future because I have a 13-year-old, and there are a number of other homeschool families that are out there that would definitely benefit from this. And again, as I said, since the expenditure's already been outlaid, maybe we can see what we can do about making those books that are returned available to those that aren't using them. Thank you very much, and by the way, Merry Christmas, and God bless you all. No mention of Jesus was made earlier, so let me just go ahead and do that. Let's remember the reason for the season. Thank you.
Zira Susko.
Sierra Susco, and I am an ambassador in Girl Scout Troop 212. I'm in the process of wrapping up my Girl Scout Gold Award and felt it was imperative that I reach out to you so that my project results and solution could be circulated as widely and as effectively as possible. My project was to help inform and educate our community about key aspects of U.S. Constitution, our government, and history. To do this, I began by assessing how much our community knew about the subjects. I developed a 50-question survey which contained many of the items required to be known by those seeking to become U.S. citizens. I approached individuals who were in high school or older to ensure the answers given from them were so that they're most likely to have the better chance of getting the answers correct. The results of the survey show that our community has a severe deficit in knowledge when it comes to these issues. Within the week, I'll be sending each of you an email that includes copies of the graphs showing the result of each question. To say the least, we have a problem as little to no people can answer any of the questions correctly or even answer them. As with every problem, there's a solution. The second portion of my project was to develop a YouTube presentation that is an easy one-stop location where questions and answers from all the survey questions are provided. A link to this will also be included in the email. I'm offering this to you to use, as I highly encourage each of you to go through the presentation personally and then forward it to your schools for their usage. County history and civics teachers may find the presentation a useful tool to enhance materials already being utilized. Merry Christmas!
Jacqueline Perez.
An administrative hearing for my child who suffers from a very rare and potentially life-threatening genetic condition. My purpose was to obtain a 504.
Point of order, Mr. Martin, did you introduce your name? I didn't catch the name. Can you say your name, please?
Yes, I have. You have 2 minutes and 50 seconds. You state your name, please. Thank you.
To obtain a 504 plan for her, a learning plan that accommodates students with difficulties such as hers. Your administrative staff denied her one and swore under oath that they'd never been told my child was disabled, when in fact her school's nursing staff had been in constant communication with her primary care doctor. By effectively lying to a judge, your administration deprived her for 4 years of the help she needed to prosper academically, to be the best she can be. Your staff further denied us access to my daughter's school records. Without access to the school nurse's notes and doctor's documentations, I was unable to prove the impact of her disability on her daily school routine during a disability predetermination hearing. All the school nurse's notes and all the documentation for her physician to the school no longer existed because your staff hid her file, denying her due process. Even when the federal DOE, OCR, became involved and imposed regulations forcing the district into a resolution agreement in August 2015, you still didn't correct your actions. Instead, you waited for the federal DOE to force you to enter into another resolution agreement. Your present-day superintendent, in trying to refuse the terms, nearly lost a multi-million-dollar federal grant. Only did you agree to the terms, which punish you for contentious acts against an innocent child. To willfully set out to destroy a disabled child in order to cover up your actions ranks among the most despicable acts a public school can perpetrate. When finally you were ordered to give my child a 504 eligibility determination meeting, I heard for the first time her records were now found. For 4 long years, I fought for my child to have a 504 learning plan she deserved. You knew she was disabled. You knew not having such a plan impaired her academic success. The accommodations for her would have no impact on your budget or would affect any other child's education. Shame on all of you for your avoidance of the truth and being clueless about what goes on in your district. While your board attorney sends memorandums on half-truths of Gabby's case, I hope he sent you also the resolution agreement findings of the Office of Civil Rights from November 8, 2017, showing how your actions resulted in even stronger sanctions and resolutions against the district than in 2015, where again, 12,000 employees need to be re-educated and policy changes need to be made. Thank you.
Next speaker also has the last name Perez, and I apologize, I can't quite make out the first name. You can state your name, please. Thank you.
I have the Lee County School District Florida complaint number 0415-1012 resolution agreement in my hands that Superintendent Greg Atkins signed November 8, 2017, where it states that the school district has to pay for my sister's counseling because of their actions, where they have to give her a 504 determination hearing. The district will have to publish the revised harassment policies that are consistent with the requirements of Section 504 in its students, parent, and staff handbooks, along with the district's website. Additionally, the district will need to train over 12,000 employees in Section 504 and Title 12, or 2 determined responsibilities, and are required to provide documentation to the United States Department of Education Office of Civil Rights that they have done so. It is shocking and disheartening that the school district continues to let discrimination of any sort within the workplace. My sister was treated with disdain and not provided the help she needed. I hope that this resolution agreement helps ensure that no other child is discriminated against and provided with the help and the rights that they so deserve. I am providing the agreement to the board right now just in case you haven't seen it. Thank you.
Last speaker is Anthony Thomas.
My name is Anthony Thomas. I come here tonight to talk about an issue that I am very concerned about. I think you all ought to be very concerned about, and that is the recent actions of the superintendent dealing with the deputy superintendent, who is an African-American, William Law. I have been investigating this matter, and what I've determined from my findings is that the superintendent has allowed a subordinate of Mr. Law, I won't call his name, but he's a person over the maintenance department. He has had conflict with Mr. Law. At first, they moved Mr. Law out of the superintendent's conference room, where the deputy superintendents have always been. I shared this information with Mayor Fisher and Melissa. They were told by the superintendent this was just them moving Mr. Law to be closer to his people. We found out that was not the case. Now Mr. Law has been removed from his position as the deputy superintendent of the county schools. I met with the news press reporters who did public records requests. They were told by your information person that Mr. Law was still in the position, and there had been no change. Mr. Superintendent has first moved Mr. Law. I think he was going to be the director of diversity. Now I think he's now over some compound and transportation. We need some kind of assurance from our superintendent. Let me remind you that the school district is currently engaged in a federal lawsuit for discrimination regarding administrators. I would encourage Mr. Law to contact that attorney, because I definitely think there's an issue of hostile working environment and definitely an issue here that dealing with retaliation. Mr. Law has done nothing wrong. I've looked at the allegations that have been made against him, partly by the superintendent to board members. First they said it was health issues. We found out that wasn't true. Then they said that Mr. Law would be leaving. You know, there's been a litany of reasons and excuses given about Mr. Law's situation. What we need tonight is to have some clarity from Greg Atkins. You know, I like Greg Atkins. I saved Greg Atkins' job a couple years ago. I can remember a time when Dr. Burke was here and he was getting ready to ask Greg Atkins and a whole bunch of other people. I went to Mary Fisher and Jeannie Dozier. They came here to this table and they removed the superintendent's authority to not appoint people. So Greg Atkins is sitting in that chair because people like me blew the whistle then. Now I'm going to blow the whistle now and say there's something wrong here. We need to know what is going on with Mr. Law. We have a situation now, you know, when you do an evaluation of a chief executive, you need to see, does he have continuity in his administrative team? Does, there's a whole host of issues that you want to evaluate. We have a situation where Greg Atkins has appointed a principal over at the Success Academy. It didn't work out, it failed. He appointed Mark Moore as his assistant or chief of staff. That failed. Now he appointed Mr. Law as his person, and now he's removed him. Something is going on here. We have a situation right now where our organizational chart is messed up. Who is the deputy superintendent? We got two of them. Are we giving them double the pay? We have a lot of unanswered questions, and I hope Mr. Atkins will begin to address those tonight.
Thank you to the members of the public who came forward and spoke. To Tara Jenner, that's a great suggestion. So I'm going to ask that Dr. Atkins have someone contact you to talk about how that might work. And Sierra Sesko, look forward to seeing your YouTube video. Thank you for sharing that with us. Next is the approval of action items in the agenda under consent. Board members, are there any agenda items you wish to pull for discussion under the unfinished business tabled items portion of the agenda? Ms. Fisher.
I have none.
Ms. Giovanelli.
I have none.
Trika.
No, thank you.
Mr. Toiber. Ms. La Riviere.
No.
And I have none. Is there a motion to approve the agenda's consent action items? Dr. Kuckel and Mrs. LaRiviere. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. A motion was made at the November 14, 2017 regular board meeting by Mrs. Giovanelli, seconded by Mrs. Fisher, that the school board direct the board attorney to draft a resolution in support of the filing of a bill by Representative Caldwell authorizing school boards to place the proposition of school board member term limits on the ballot in the format determined by the school board, and bring a recommendation to the next regular school board meeting that the school board consider adoption of the resolution. The main motion was tabled. Is there a motion to remove the main motion from the table?
I motion to take it from the table.
Mrs. Giovanelli, is there a second?
Second.
Mrs. Fisher. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. The motion is now on the floor. Is there discussion?
Any more discussion?
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
There's no discussion.
Can you repeat the motion, please?
The motion is that the board attorney draft a resolution in support of the filing of a bill by Representative Caldwell authorizing school boards to place the proposition of school board member term limits on the ballot in the format determined by the school board, and bring a recommendation to the next regular school board meeting that the school board consider adoption of the resolution. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll take the vote. All those in favor? All those opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion fails 6-0, or 0-6. Dr. Adkins, would you please introduce any administrators in attendance who were given a new assignment that was approved on the consent agenda?
We have none today.
Okay, thank you. And so we are on to superintendent's recommendations. Would you please read the first good cause item?
Yes, first recommendation is I recommend board approval of the revised school bell times for the 2017-2018 school year for 4th and 5th graders at the lowest 300 schools for the 2017-2018 school year as presented at the anticipated cost of $100,000.
Board members, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Mrs. Fisher, and seconded by Ms. LaRiviere. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0.
Next recommendation, I recommend board approval of the contract for professional services with Capital Strategies Consulting, Inc. to provide state legislative and governmental relations activities for the period of December 12th, 2017 through December 12th, 2018 at an estimated expenditure of $60,000 for the contract period. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all documents.
Board members, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion to approve? Mrs. Patrica? Seconded by Dr. Kuckel. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, next recommendation is a long one, so bear with me. I recommend approval of the resolution authorizing A, the issuance of certificates of participation, Series 2017B, in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $50 million for the purposes of advance refunding the Series 2012B certificates maturing on August 1st in the years 2022 and 2024 through 2027, except for the Series 2012B certificates bearing interest at an annual rate of 4% maturing on August 1st, 2022, and financing the cost to complete new senior high school LLL in the city of Bonita Springs, Florida, the sale thereof in a negotiated private sale, and the execution and delivery of the amended and restated schedule 2002A-1 and amended and restated Schedule 2016A to the master lease, a Series 2017B supplemental trust agreement, an escrow deposit agreement, a certificate purchase contract, and related documents in connection with the issuance of the Series 2017B certificates.
Board members, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Fisher, seconded by Mr. Teuber. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have your?
Yeah, well, I was just going to make the comment, and Mr. Fox has said this before, we don't want to keep using our COPS and the refinancing, to pay for our schools. But currently, the legislature is not providing us a foundation in a way that we can actually pay for growth. We get allocations for every student as a new student comes in, we get $1 per student, but that's for our operating costs. There is no growth formula in Florida that pays for the brick and mortar that puts the seats that we can actually put our children in. And we're one of a handful of districts that continue to grow year after year, and yet there's no funding to provide money for those students. We have added from 2007 to 2017, we have increased our population 9,300 students, Dr. Atkins?
In 10 years.
At least. It's more than that.
Yeah.
More than that. It's 96.
And yet we're operating at $118 million for our capital plan, and we used to operate 10 years ago at $318 million. So we're having a capital plan. All the buildings that we built that are taxpayer money, we need money to maintain them, and if we don't, the value goes to nothing. Yet we have to take money and build new schools to provide shelters during hurricanes and seats for our students, and there's no other way to do it but to continue to get further in debt and to use our COPS. I have to say I give a lot advanced gratitude to our finance team that is here today. We have the best finance team to give us the best ability to finance our COPS and refinance our COPS and close out these type of opportunities so that we're capitalizing on the changes in the market. So we're doing the best we can with the tools that we have based upon with the team that we have, but we're still not being adequately funded for our capital expenditures in our district, and I just wanted the public to be aware of that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Teuber. Is there any other board comment? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0.
Next recommendation, I recommend board approval of the 2017-2018 agreement and articulated acceleration plan with Florida.
Wait, we have a, right. So we're going to recess at this time and go to a leasing corporation meeting. I believe Mrs. Fisher is chairing that meeting.
At this time, as president of the Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation, I would like to call this meeting of December 12th, 2017 to order. The time is 6:46 p.m. This evening's agenda includes public comment, 3 secretaries' recommendations, other business, and adjournment. Do I hear a motion for the adoption of the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Morgan and second by Mrs. Giovanelli. There has been a motion to adopt the agenda. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Aye. Motion carries 7-0. We will now take public comment. Mr. Martin, please address the agenda item of public comment.
An opportunity is provided at this point in the meeting to provide comment to the Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation. The subject of comment is limited to the operations of the corporation. The time allowed is 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Is there anyone in the right section of the audience who wishes to speak? Anyone on the left section? Okay, seeing none, we will now move to Secretary's recommendations.
Thank you. The first recommendation, I recommend approval of the minutes of the last Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation meeting held on March 7th, 2017.
Directors, you've heard the Secretary's recommendation to approve the minutes of the last meeting of the Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation held on March 7th, 2017. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Dr. Kuckel, and a second, Mrs. Morgan. Thank you very much. Is there any discussion? I will now call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 7-0.
Next recommendation, I recommend approval of the organizational resolution of the Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation for the election of officers.
Directors, you've heard the Secretary's recommendation to approve the organizational resolution of the Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation for the election of officers. Nominated are Kathleen O'Daniel Morgan, President, Pamela H. LaRiviere, Vice President, Gregory K. Adkins, Secretary, and Amy Desamore, Treasurer. I will now entertain a motion. Ms. Toiber, and seconded by Mrs. Morgan. Is there any discussion? I will now call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. At this time, Mrs. Morgan, as the new president, you will take over chairing the meeting. Thank you.
And the resolution is to authorize the issuance of certificates of participation, Series 2017B, to finance the advance refunding of the outstanding certificates of participation, Series 2012B, maturing on August 1st in the years 2022 and 2024 through 2027, except for the Series 2012B certificates bearing interest at the annual rate of 4%, maturing on August 1st, 2022, and the cost to complete the acquisition, construction, and equipping of new senior high school LLL in the city of Bonita Springs, Florida, and authorizing execution of related documents in connection with the, in connection with the issuance of the Series 2017B certificates. And that was the Secretary's job to read. Then I read it for him.
And thank you very much, and I will confirm that is my recommendation.
Very good. Okay, so directors, you have heard the Secretary's recommendation to approve the resolution. Do I see a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Fisher, seconded by Dr. Kuckel. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. 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 Motion carries 7-0. My apologies, Dr. Adkins. We will now move on to other business. Please note that any comments may only be made in your capacity as directors and/or officers of the corporation. Are there any comments, Mrs. Fisher?
No comment.
Mrs. Giovanelli?
No comment.
Mrs. Patrica?
No, thank you.
Mr. Toiber?
No, ma'am.
Mrs. LaRiviere?
No, ma'am.
Dr. Kuckel?
No.
Dr. Adkins?
No comments.
Okay, at this point, having no other business to come before this body, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Fisher, seconded by Mrs. LaRiviere. Okay, at this time, all in favor? We're in a rush. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0. I'll slow down. At this time, I will reconvene the regular school board meeting of December 12, 2017. Dr. Adkins, would you please proceed with your recommendations?
Yes, next recommendation, I recommend board approval of the 2017-2018 agreement and articulated acceleration plan with Florida Gulf Coast University and the District School Board of Lee County, Florida, to enhance learning opportunities to eligible students for the opportunity to take specified college-level courses in lieu of standard curricular courses at an estimated cost of $500,000. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute related documents.
Board members, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion to approve? Mrs. Patrica. Second, Mrs. LaRiviere. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0.
Next recommendation, I recommend board approval of the ITF's recommendation to continue the 3 existing medical plans, 5773, 3769, and the high deductible health plan HDHP, with a health savings account at HSA, with the plan design changes to increase to premium rates as indicated in the attached exhibits, with an expected annual cost to the district of $76,200,000. I further recommend approval of the plans and premium rates to be effective from April 1st, 2018 through March 31st, 2019. Approval authorizes superintendent or designee to execute all related documents.
Board members, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Mrs. Fisher, seconded by Mrs. Giovanelli. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Recommendation, I recommend board approval to renew the bid for group term life and accidental death and dismemberment insurance awarded to Minnesota Life Insurance Company for the final renewal period of April 1st, 2018 through March 31st, 2022 at the estimated expenditure of $670,000 pursuant to the same terms and conditions as previously approved by the board. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all related documents.
Board members, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Dr. Kuckel, seconded by Mrs. Giovanelli. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Next recommendation, I recommend board approval to piggyback Florida Department of Education bid number 2017-02 for the purchase of 65 school buses awarded to multiple vendors for the period of December 12, 2017 through December 11, 2018 for a one-time expenditure of $5,933,701 with an option to cancel if deemed to be in the best interest of the district. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all related documents.
Board members, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Mr. Teuber, seconded by Ms. LaRiviere. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Next recommendation, I recommend board approval for the one-time increase of $2,300,000 for the bid for floor covering awarded to Acousti Engineering Company of Florida and Wayne Wiles Floor Coverings for a period of December 12, 2017 through May 17, 2018 for a total estimated expenditure not to exceed $3,800,000 pursuant to the same terms and conditions as previously approved by the board. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all related documents.
Board members, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Fisher, seconded by Dr. Kuckel. Any discussion? Seeing none, and all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. And now we have a recommendation from the board attorney.
Yes, Ms. Morgan, board members, I have one recommendation this evening, which is to approve the appointment of Ms. Kathleen O'Daniel Morgan as a school board member to the Value Adjustment Board, with Mrs. Melissa Giovanelli as the alternate school board member.
Board members, you've heard the board attorney recommendation. Mr. Teuber, seconded by Mrs. Patrica. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. And now we have time for board member comments. Since it's 7 p.m. and several people have expressed an interest, and it's still relatively early in the evening, do we want to give board members an opportunity to make at least one comment relative, other than about the board agenda, since we did not have an opportunity during the workshop today? Are board members comfortable with that? Because that's a change in our protocol. Okay. First board member, Mrs. Fisher.
Yes, I would just like to take a moment to compliment the Hancock Creek Elementary Colt Chorale. I was at that school in 1993 when they organized, and they certainly have come a long way. I enjoyed their music tonight and thank them for coming. I also want to congratulate the student winners in the Christmas card art contest. They did a great job. And then I would like to say to our listening public, to our employees and the families and students, to prepare yourselves well and have a wonderful, peaceful holiday break. Be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Giovanelli.
I just want to wish everybody, the staff in the district and the community, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. Mrs. Patrica.
No comments.
Mr. Teuber.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have two. The one that I spoke about at the briefing, and then I'll add one. But the first one I'd like to say is this morning we have a news program in town, 92.5 Fox News, that has annually done what's called Cards for the Troops, and they try to get 10,000 cards and send to our troops overseas as a way for us to show our armed forces protecting us abroad, to and give them a little bit of touch of home. And it's a great project, and every year they seem to outdo themselves, and I really commend Drew Steele for doing that. Today we had the Lee County School District show up at the studio, and the Lee County School District amongst themselves presented 9,009 cards to Drew Steele towards his goal. That puts them, I think they were at 12,000 last Friday, so that puts them way over 20,000. The number's going to continue to grow. So I wanted to thank all the students. And what was really amazing was not only the cards that they supplied, but some of the things that the students wrote to the soldiers. You know, thank you for your service and for your dedication. Someone says, you know, one of the cards said, our men and women overseas are not fighting because they hate what's in front of them. It's because they love what's behind them. It was some really good cards that they wrote out. But one other thing that really impressed me was the ability of our district to pull out 9,009 cards for a cause like this. Well, we have a cause also this board is facing, and it's a situation that we can't seem to get any type of attention up in Tallahassee because nobody listens. And the only way that our Tallahassee legislators will listen to what we're doing is one of two things: money and votes. Well, we can tell you we don't have any money, but we have votes. We have 15,000 employees, of which more than half of them aren't even registered voters. So I implore all of our school district employees, our teachers, our support personnel, our administration, themselves, their husbands, their wives, their friends, their neighbors, to go register and vote. Go out there, and then when you see when there's an issue that affects public education, to step up and be a voice, and be a unified voice, because the only way we're going to make any changes, because right now people don't understand, and people think that because we're doing well as a district and your children are doing well in their schools, that there is not a crisis. There is a crisis in the state of Florida, that our House of Representatives wants to eliminate public education. And our Senate, the other side that may have our back, they're really focused on higher education. So there's nobody up in Tallahassee that's looking out for our children. We are trying to advocate for our children, and you're going to hear this more and more and more as we try every way we can, but we can't do it alone. And if we can get 9,000 students for Christmas cards, you know, engaged as a focused effort, imagine what we could do if we had a focused effort to Tallahassee in support of our kids. So that was my first issue. My second one is I'm a huge advocate of our JROTC program. Our JROTC program is the largest JROTC program in the nation. And they have to go through every certain period of time, they actually have to get recertified. It's a very rigorous process, much like our accreditation process that we have to do for education. And 3 of our ROTC programs had to go through that accreditation. They just got finished. Ida Baker, Dunbar, and Island Coast. Not only did they meet their accreditation, but all 3 of them earned the honor unit with distinction, the highest possible marks that they could achieve. So I just wanted to say congratulations to the 3 ROTC programs, Ida Baker, Dunbar, and Island Coast, for what you're doing, and congratulations. That's all I have.
Mrs. LaRiviere.
Just a shout out to our bus drivers. About 3 weeks ago, I ran into one of our substitute drivers, and we were chatting about the kids coming in, and she was saying how happy faces they have every day as they get on her bus, and how excited they are to go to school. She said, but you know, the sad thing is when they get off the bus, or as we get close to their bus stop, you'd be surprised at how many of the students say they don't want to get dropped off. And I just want to give a shout out to our drivers, because for many of our students, that morning when they get on the bus, it's the first time they've actually heard an adult say their name in a kind way. And those bus drivers also get to know our kids and mentor the kids. I'm constantly amazed at all that they do. And so be sure you're passing on your thanks to our bus drivers. For those of you who live in communities and you know there are some children out there that mom and dad are working, that the kids may be disenfranchised, find out what you can do to reach out and come alongside those children and be a support to them so that the holidays are not a time that's uncomfortable for them. Merry Christmas to all, and tonight on the first night of Hanukkah, Happy Hanukkah, and may we have joyous holidays and a blessed New Year.
Thank you. Dr. Kuckel.
Yes, I'd just like to thank Mr. Toiber for his comments. Actually, our district is about 7 schools behind in meeting our growth needs for students, and that's a really sad situation. So we end up having to borrow money to mortgage these schools, and the principal and interest payments are taken out of taxpayer dollars. That's very, very sad. So please spread the word about that. We need support as new legislators are elected, and education become an important part of our state rather than a secondary part. And happy holidays to all our staff, our family, our community members. We look forward to seeing you rested and peaceful during that little break and back in business in January.
Thank you, Dr. Kuckel. Aiden Henson.
I would like to thank the board for the opportunity to serve as tonight's student representative. I am honored to be a member of the Lee County Student Advisory Committee. Thank you and happy holidays.
Thank you, and we're honored to have you here too.
And thanks to his parents, as we conclude, for bringing him here and allowing him to participate.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, right here. Thank you. You can be very proud.
Yes. Yes. I have no comments this evening, but I would also like to thank Mr. Toiber and Dr. Kuckel for addressing what we think is one of the most pressing issues facing the school board and the school district this year. Mr. Martin, do you have any comments?
Just to wish each of you a warm, wonderful, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Dr. Atkins?
No comments other to say that, you know, when you're addressing personnel decisions, obviously you're talking about human beings, and we don't make those decisions lightly. I take a lot of time to make decisions that I think is in the best interest of the district, but also in the best interest of students and the human being that we're working with. And you know, that's of course something that I work with this board, share with this board in terms of what those staffing decisions are. We try to get the right person in the right seat on the bus so that we're all moving forward and doing what's best for kids. Having said that, I just want to wish everybody happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, and looking forward to getting started back with the work in 2018.
Thank you. Seeing no other comments or business to come before the board, the next scheduled meetings of the board are on Tuesday, January 9th, when there is a school board briefing meeting at 2 p.m. and then a school board action meeting at 6 p.m. May I see a motion to adjourn? Mrs. Fisher.
Second.
Second by Mr. Toiber. All in favor?
Aye.